What's going on, everyone? So, according to Evan Sidery, the Chicago Bulls are shopping Lonzo Ball for 1 second-round pick. And guess what the Lakers have? 1 second-round pick. I think that the Los Angeles Lakers should at least inquire about Lonzo. I think he makes a world of sense, slotted in right next to Luka. So, talked about this briefly in a previous video, and I got a lot of comments that were like, you can't play Lonzo next to Luka. What are you talking about, right? You don't know ball, all that stuff. This isn't the YMCA. This is the NBA. And most lineups are defensive purposed anyway, right? I know Lonzo is looked at as a point guard, especially amongst Laker fans, because he was drafted as the point guard of the future for Lakers. If you've watched him since he left the Lakers, he has essentially evolved into a combo guard, especially in Chicago. In Chicago, he essentially was the 2 guard, the 3-and-D guard. He defended and hit the 3 ball. I think he shot like 43% pre-injury. He is exactly what the Lakers need, slotted alongside Luka. Again, this is the NBA, right? Lonzo, yes, can he still wheel it and deal it with the best of them? Absolutely, right? But he's also a guy that can just lock down, defend. I like the idea of him still being able to swing it because he can at any point step up and be the playmaker. Say Luka goes to the bench or, and LeBron's still on the court. You can, boom, Lonzo step up and then he can still wheel it, keep LeBron off ball if you want. Or, if LeBron gets the night off or Luka gets the night off, you have a guy in Lonzo. But most of the time, he's being that 2 guard. Also, the ability to keep being the swing man. So, say Luka, boom, he's doing his thing, kicks it out, Lonzo's got it. He could take the shot, but if, let's say he recognizes the cutter because he is a point guard or the capability of a point guard, he can visualize, boom, there you go, make the cutter, pass, whatever, right? Swing pass. I like the idea of that. But it's more so for his defensive and 3-point purposes. Again, it's the NBA, right? Like I've even talked about, a lot more people that watch this channel get it, but I'll still get occasion, like when I'm like, oh, we could start Jared Vanderbilt at the 2 and go like Luka, Vando, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron, and then get a center. And I'll get people still that are like, what are you talking about? Vando isn't a 2. You don't know ball, blah, 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 blah. Again, Vando is usually slotted at the 2. It's the same idea, right? It's having Lonzo slotted in alongside Luka with like a Dorian Finney-Smith, and now you got 2 just versatile 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", just versatile wing defenders that can defend 1 through 3 and on some occasions 4. You got LeBron, you got Luka. Both guys can shoot the 3 ball. Now you got go get that center, and boom, we're off to the races. Let's go cook, right? I love that idea. I'm not against bringing in a Lonzo Ball by any stretch of the imagination. I do think he's a guy that could really have an impact. Obviously, the biggest concern with Lonzo is his health. He is starting to look more and more healthy. He is starting to look more and more like the Lonzo we're accustomed to. But he is making $22 million, and there is a risk, right? But there's not very many options left, right? You got Lonzo, you got Bruce Brown, you got Malcolm Brogdon. Could you get an IO, somebody like that? Maybe, but if you could get Lonzo for a second, I think it's worth the risk, right? I think the risk is worth the reward at that point. If you had to give up multiple seconds, or if you had to give up like Reeves or something, like no. But if you can essentially just do like Rui plus whatever else, right? Christian Wood and throw in whatever Jackson Hayes or something like that. And then bring in a Trey Jemison, right? Boom, you get him, free up 2 rough spots, clear $1 million off the deck. I think that that's a win-win. Chicago just waived a bunch of guys, which I'll talk about. Try to squeeze it in on this channel. If not, then AIS, the Lakers show, I'll talk about that. Torrey Craig and Chris Dort both got waived. I know a lot of people have been asking me to talk about it. I will. Stay tuned. But Lonzo Ball, he's making about 21. We'll just call it 22 because remember, Lakers have to send out more money. He's making $21.3 million. Let's call it $22 million just to be safe. But if he can stay healthy, again, ideal scenario, slot alongside a Luka Doncic, right? But you look at kind of his stats this year, right, which are continuing to increase. He's continuing to get better and better. He's played in 29 games thus far, started in 8. He's averaging 21 minutes per game. He is shooting 6.4 attempts per game. He is shooting 37% total from the field. He is now up to 35% from 3 on 5.3 attempts, right? Again, he's taking 6.4 total. So for those that are like, he can't be your two guard. He literally is operating as a two guard. You look at this Chicago year pre-injury. He took 7.4 threes per game. In New Orleans, right? 8.3 attempts per game from 3-point range. Right? Like from 3-point range. So again, he's capable of being your two guard. But he's, like I said, he's shooting from 3-point range 35%, which is up. He was shooting like 29% a couple weeks ago. So he's starting to pick it back up. He's starting to get his back up. I even talked about Lonzo like this time a week ago, and it was at like 32% or something like that. So he's increasing his 3-point percentage. 2-point percentage is 47%. He has an EFG of 51.3%. He's shooting 86% from the foul line, which is really good. He is averaging right now 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 7.2 points. So he's basically a 7-4-4 guy almost, right? That can also get you near 2 steals a game. It's what the Lakers need, right? Defense, hustle, energy, a guy that can... I love the idea of having, Lonzo, Luka, and LeBron. Because at any point, if one of those guys get the ball, they can just go, right? Now, I know because people are going to ask, well, you recently talked about trading Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves can't defend anywhere close to the level that Lonzo can. It's not about anything else with Reeves. His scoring ability, his playmaking, right? His shooting, right? All of that. His ability to again, same thing, get the ball and go. One, he's not as athletic. He's not as fast, even injured Lonzo. So, again, he gives you what you're looking for. 3 and D wing, but at the guard position. Because that's what he is. He's 6'6" guard. So, that, I think, really could kind of, again, you could start seeing the shape of this team. But you still have to get a center, which is the other problem, right? So, Lonzo is making, like I mentioned, you have to send out nearly $22 million. Do you, at that point, go get like a Day'Ron Sharpe? Right? I mean, in a perfect world, you get Walker Kessler. In a perfect world, you take that last first. Like I said, if you told me you could get Walker Kessler and Lonzo, I would do that in a heartbeat. Right? If you had to trade, let's say you had to trade Dalton Connect and the last first. So Dalton Connect, the first, and say you remove the protections. Because at this point, you're telling, like, hey, look, dude. We got Luka now, so your concerns of us doing this, that, and the other, guess what? Like, that's gone, right? So, but also you could argue, is Danny Ainge even more mad, right? Is he even more pressed? Because supposedly he didn't know he was helping the Lakers get Luka. He just was told, like, hey, do you want to be a part of this? You'll land 2 seconds, essentially. And he was like, yeah, of course. That his own disease get in the way, right? He's got that disease of like, I need assets, right? Like he's like Schmeagol with the ring, like my precious. But point is that if you could do something like that, pull off that, and then go trade for Lonzo, because again, Lonzo gives you the upside. He gives you the defense that you're looking for, shooting, all of that. But also he gives you flexibility in the offseason, which is another thing that's very important, right? Because now he becomes an expiring contract after this year, and he's not going to make $22 million next year, right? He'll be lucky to make probably 10, right? Like, so realistically speaking, let's say you give him the $11 million a year. Right? Say you sign him to a 2-year deal or something like that, right? Give him like a prove it deal. That's fine, right? Like you cleared $11 million off your books. Salary cap goes up. This guy behind me on the poster, he was willing to take $20 million last year to go get other pieces, right? Like Bruce Brown is a free agent. You can add another guard and wing. You got a bunch of like other free agents. This free agency coming up is expected to be really good. Obviously, with the new CBA, there is that rule where teams can sign their free agents early. So something to keep in mind. Like if you're like, oh, Lakers should get this guy, or Lakers should get that guy in free agency. It's very possible that like a lot of those guys aren't going to be available once actual free agency hits, as you saw this past free agency. But I think it's one of those things, if you can land Lonzo Ball, I think you land Lonzo. I do think a center is the priority now, and I've talked about this. I do think because you traded Anthony Davis, where before I felt like, no, perimeters is a priority because you had Anthony Davis. Now you don't have Anthony Davis. So I do think if it's like, a Nick Claxton or Lonzo, or it's like a Miles Turner or Lonzo, I'd rather go get that. But if you were to get Lonzo and like a Robert Williams or something, right? Both are really injury prone. There are concerns with that, but do you just kind of take the gamble, right? Do you just say, because that's like $35 million total, that you could easily do that, adding Gabe Vincent, and he'd clear off like 3 roster spots in the process, and bring in a couple guys, bring in like a Trey Jemison, 6'11", 270 guy, bring in like a guard, a buyout, right? You'd have options and flexibility. I think you go get Lonzo if you can, especially if he's only 1 second, because again, like your Lakers are now very limited on their assets. So if you can get Lonzo, I think you get Lonzo, personally. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Do you think, like, yes, go get Lonzo? Do you think, no, stay away from Lonzo? No way, no how? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.